I'm so excited. I just got out my box of fall and Halloween decorations. And now to make sure I keep being excited and not get stressed. Hi parents, it's Betsy from Easy Peasy, and I want to talk to you today about how to have a fun and happy and successful Halloween and month of October. So I know it sounds a little funny to say successful, but I consider it a win. I consider it successful if mom and dad, grandma and grandpa aren't stressed out, aren't at their wits' end. They stay sane through holiday seasons, and that includes October and Halloween. And also, if the kids enjoy themselves and make memories that will last forever from this year's fall season and Halloween. So let's get started. First tip, there's going to be 3 tips. They all start with P, easy peasy to remember. Can you tell I used to teach elementary school? So the first one is to plan. So what you should do, you may not be a big planner, and that's okay, but it's always good to keep in our mind what we want to do and have a rough sketch of what we want to do. Even if you're not a sit down pen and paper type planner or have everything scheduled to a T, it's good to know what you want to do and when and where, etc., so that you will get those things accomplished and you will be less stressed out in the midst if things start to go not as planned. Okay, so number 1, plan. So what I did is I made a list of everything that I would like to do in the month of October. Could be something small, could be something bigger, but I wrote it all down. So I have here everything that I wrote down, okay? And I'm just going to give you some ideas of what I wrote down. So I have a busy book that I printed for my 3-year-old to do. So I want to get this, I'm going to laminate it and have these little activities for her to do. So that's one thing. Then I have my storybooks that have to do with fall and Halloween that I want to get out, and I want to put them in the basket in the living room by the rocking chair. So we have, the current holiday books out. Then I have going to a pumpkin patch or going to your grocery store to pick out a pumpkin if you don't have a pumpkin patch near you. These are all suggestions. We'll get to the next step in just a minute, but I'm writing down everything that I can think of that has to do with fall and with Halloween that I would like to do in October. Carving a pumpkin, making or buying a costume for my kids and for myself, because my husband and I like to dress up too. Trick-or-treating, trunk-or-treating, Halloween cookies, baking Halloween cookies. We have a family get-together that I usually host, so I need to keep that in my mind as well, preparing for that, to have the family over. I'd like to get some little kind of plastic trinkety little things from Dollar Tree for the kids to play with. I have decorations, a few fall decorations around the house, but they're up high and they're not really for the kids. And my daughter especially likes the holiday theme stuff that's around, that's at her level, that she can play with. So I just want to get a couple little plastic pumpkins or little things that they both can play with. And then some coloring sheets, print off some coloring sheets that have to do with fall and have to do with Halloween for them to color. So that's everything on my list. So that is plan. And the next part, which is also part of planning. So plan, the next part is prioritize. So on this list, I'm going to go and I'm going to start with number 1. What is the most important thing? If I could only do one of these things for the entire month of October or Halloween, what would it be? And I'm going to go from 1 on down to how many ever I have. So your list is obviously going to be different than mine. Number 1 is carving pumpkins. This is huge. My husband loves carving pumpkins. He does really elaborate designs, but he also does a simple one with the kids, and they love it. So number 1 is carving pumpkins. Number 2 is going to be trick-or-treating. Number 3 is going to be the family get-together. Number 4 is going to be the pumpkin patch. Okay, so you can see what I mean. So we'll go through. Now, the reason why I prioritize is because we're going to be planning when we're going to do these events. And if you, for some reason, run out of time, maybe somebody gets sick, maybe, your schedule's different with work or whatever, and you're down to the week of Halloween, and you look and you're like, oh, I didn't get to baking cookies, and we don't have time to do it. But you see, okay, I still did my top 5 priority, okay? Because there's a lot of guilt. There's a lot of mom guilt sometimes. I didn't do enough. They didn't get to do the trunk or treat that the church had. They didn't get to do this. So prioritize. Is the hayride your number 1 priority, or is it number 10? Because if it's number 10 and you don't get to it, then you can see I did all these other things that were top priority. If you have older kids, it's fun to ask them what their priority is too, so they can help you throw out ideas for your list. And then you can say, out of these, what's your favorite thing? Say you have 3 kids. Everybody tell me what their number 1 thing is they want to do. And then you have your top 3 that you for sure will get done. And that helps everybody have a fun and successful time. So number one, plan. Number two, prioritize. Still on prioritize, but part of this is back to planning on this part, okay? So once you have the priority, then we're gonna look at when this fits into your schedule, with your work schedule, with whoever you're doing these activities with, grandma, grandpa, friends, dad, whatever. And you're going to kind of think, how am I gonna space these out? If you have toddlers or preschoolers, they consider one activity. Okay, so going to pumpkin patch for 2 or 3 hours is a huge thing for them. This is like a weekend away vacation for us adults, okay? And you want them to have time to enjoy it and take it in and process it and come home and tell everybody about it for the next couple days. If you pack in the pumpkin patch and going to get a costume and making cookies all in the same day or all even the same 48 hours, it becomes overwhelming for them. And it's really not enjoyable for them, and then it becomes not enjoyable for you. When they get tired, they get grumpy, they get whiny, they start crying, and so all of a sudden you're on the hayride and they're saying, I just want to go home, or they're crying because the hay is too itchy, or whatever. They are not the best version of themselves, and therefore it becomes very stressful and not fun for you either. So plan accordingly. So now that I have my priorities, number one, carving a pumpkin. Well, we like to do that right before Halloween so that we can set it out and the trick-or-treaters can see it, with the candle inside. So I'm going to look at my husband's schedule because he's the one who loves doing this. I'm going to put that down on the 30th, okay? Then I have trick-or-treating. Well, that's going to be on Halloween night. That's a given. The family get-together will be as well. And then I have the pumpkin patch is the next one. Well, I can see that I have these 3 big events already right at Halloween time. Carving the pumpkin a day or 2 before, and the other 2 are on Halloween. So maybe we'll do the pumpkin patch, mid-October. I'll look at the week of October 15th, whatever day of the week that is, and I'll find some time in our schedule to do the pumpkin patch 2 weeks before or 3 weeks before, the first or second week of October. And then I'm going to look and say anything that takes longer than an hour is a big activity for a toddler, okay? So then I'm gonna look at Halloween cookies. That's kind of a big activity. I cannot start to finish bake and decorate cookies with my 2 kids in under an hour. If you can, that is awesome. Congratulations. I cannot. So this is going to be a 2 or 3 hour thing. And so I don't want this to be on a day where we're doing anything else, because when we go to get their Halloween costume, that day is going to be special by itself, and they're going to be so excited to go, and they're going to be so excited when we get home, and they're going to wear their costume, and they're going to be telling everybody about it. So let's do it a different day, even a different week, or maybe 2 of these big things in 1 week. So you kind of want to take it from, if I were 3, how much does this, cause me? And if you have to limit it because you get down to the week of Halloween, then you make sure you do your top 3 or 4 priority, and everyone's going to have a good time. You should not have mom guilt or dad guilt because your kids only got to do, these 5 things the week of Halloween. They're kids. They're going to have fun. They're going to enjoy their time with you, and they're going to celebrate with you. All right? So don't feel bad if you prioritize, and for your own sanity and for your kids' sake, you choose to do the top priorities and limit the number. That's okay. Okay, so moving on. So you want to kind of spread it out, okay? So then we have the Halloween cookies. Well, if we go to the pumpkin patch the second week, I'm going to put this down for sometime in the first week of, or the third week of October, okay? So maybe the week before Halloween we'll make cookies. And then the other things that are kind of my things, like I need to print the coloring sheets. We can do those throughout the month. I want to get the busy book done. I want to get the storybooks out. Those are just kind of like reminder notes for me, okay? So remember, spread the things out. So plan, prioritize, and the last one is portion control. I know that sounds funny, but portion control is very important for kids. And if you want them to have a great time, just remember that their bodies are very small. My daughter just turned 3. She weighs 20% of what I weigh. So whatever the adult portion size is for a Snickers candy bar, she should be getting 1/5 of that as her portion for her little body size. And we sometimes forget that. So the fun size candy bars is really, that's it for their size. It's a fun size. They're a little fun size. That's it. And so keep that in mind, and don't feel bad if you, if your kids say, no, I want the whole thing. And you say, no, I'm going to, we're going to share and I'm going to eat half. You can do that. You're the parent. So if you have an ice cream sandwich, you can break it in half and give them half. If they're used to getting more than that, then you might have to kind of work with them and gradually bring them back. But again, they'll do whatever eventually, you know, there'll be a little pushback, but they'll get used to it. So that's totally up to you. And you might say Halloween night is a free-for-all. We usually do something like, as we're walking around trick-or-treating, okay, you can choose after a few houses, you can choose one to eat while we're walking, and then when we get home, you can choose 2 more to eat before you go to bed. Again, she just turned 3, and my son is 18 months. So that's a lot of candy for their system. They're not used to even 3 pieces of candy. So, and so really it's up to you what you decide. But portion control is very important. They will, if they get a lot of sugar all at once, you're going to see more meltdowns. You're going to see more frustration on their part. They, you know, all of a sudden their costume is, they're upset because of their belt, or they're this, or they're just, you know, laying on the sidewalk crying and you're not sure what's going on. So they're going to have more meltdowns. They're going to be more frustrated, which is going to cause the whole family to be more frustrated. So plan, prioritize, and portion control. Those are my 3 tips for an easy peasy Halloween, easy peasy October. Have a great fall, everybody. I hope you just make lots of memories with your kids and have a wonderful time. If you like this video, be sure to hit like and subscribe and share with a friend. So have a great fall and happy Halloween. Bye.